Tyron Woodley should win this thing, no questions asked. In the world where Jake Paul has a Showtime deal and Showtime says that he can fight Tyron Woodley, even though they're going to put a lot of money into this kid, I don't know why they make the fight. I think Tyron beats the kid because Tyron's supposed to. Will he do it? I mean, I sure hope so. We need our champion to go and do what he's supposed to do against this dude. For Jake Paul, though, he's going to see in this one that it's much different than fighting Ben, because Ben had no idea what he was doing out there. I think it's actually too much of a step up, if I'm being honest. Like, if you watch pro boxers at 3-0, the people they fight are ridiculous. Watch ESPN Friday Night Fights. Some of these guys, there was a guy out there boxing a year ago that looked like he had never put on gloves before, but he was fighting this good prospect who was like 10-0. So this is a massive step up. I get what they're doing though, right? They see Tyron has gotten knocked out. They see Tyron has had trouble pulling the trigger. So they're kind of hoping that that's the guy that shows up when Jake fights him. But T. Wood has to be ready for a real boxing match. I've told you time and time again, this kid believes that he can win. This kid is going to train and prepare himself in order to win that fight because he wants to stick it to people. He wants to stick it to the UFC. And if he can beat Tyron Woodley, if he can knock out Tyron Woodley, it's gonna be all bad, man. It'll be all bad if T. Wood don't get it done. Tyron Woodley is supposed to beat this kid. It would make people so happy to watch T. Wood knock this kid out or drag him into a point where the kid starts to fatigue and then you just kind of beat on him and break him. So lock in, T. Wood. Get ready to win. Be serious, be focused, and go get this victory.
It's not the diss, Jake, but you've been watching him for a minute.
Yeah.
Woodley could throw them hands. Ben Askren never could. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, you got a guy that can fight, that could sling fists when it's time to sling. Like, Woodley could have made his money grappling, which he did. He was good enough of an athlete, and he was good enough of an athlete to make his money with his hands, to knock people the fuck out, you know? So I know Jake's never been in there with a guy like that, you know? It's explosive, that's a good athlete, and has a ton of experience over him. So if Jake wins, fucking wow, my hat's off to him. I was wrong. I don't know shit about fighting, right?
Mm-hmm.
But chances are Woodley's gonna knock the fuck out. I've also seen Woodley when he's in pads, when he's sparring at 100 and when he's fighting at 100. And when I do the math, Woodley wins, man. Woodley just wins, you know, as long as he did his part, which was train leading up to the moment, was in the gym doing his thing, he's gonna win. There's just too much experience and athleticism on that side. I think Jake's a good athlete, but Woodley's a different type of athlete. It's just, you know, that next level athlete compared to, you know, Jake's gonna feel it in the fight. You know, I don't think he's even ever sparred with somebody as athletic as Woodley. They can cover the distance that he can. That if Woodley was to get like tired or hurt, can clinch him, and there's nothing Jake could do, you know. And then the referee will break it up, but there goes 4 or 5 seconds, you know. And he's gonna get manhandled in the clinch, I feel like, as well, you know. So I see Woodley winning.
Jake Paul can obviously fight. I don't know how well he can fight. I'm not super impressed with a knockout win over Ben Askren, a guy that can't punch. It's not really like I still don't think we know how good Jake Paul is. And even if he beats Tyron Woodley, I'm not sure that we're gonna know how good Jake Paul is even after that, because he's not fighting anybody his size. Jake Paul is like my size. He's not a welterweight. He's nowhere even close to a welterweight. He's 200 pounds. So maybe I'm 20 or 30 pounds heavier than him, but he's closer to me than he is Tyron Woodley for sure. So I fighting smaller opponents that are shorter with shorter reaches. If he was worth a shit, he could just stick a jab for however many rounds this fight is, and he should be able to get a win. But if Tyron shows up and he gets in his face and he makes it ugly and hits him with some hard shots, then I think Tyron can absolutely beat him.
Tyron Woodley could still knock him out, my son. You know, he still has that knockout power, but, you know, he's getting a little bit up there in age and his motivation's not there. So what I think is, I know how struggling Tyron Woodley is for money. He's going to take a dive. it's going to be a work hound, and he's not really going to go fight Jake Paul. They're going to pay him a couple $1 million under the table. He's going to take a dive, take a fall, and they're going to hype up this little snake Paul like he's some great fighter and great boxer when he's really nothing more than an amateur joke and a sparring partner. It's not going to be a real fight. They're not going to really fight. Woodley's going to get paid off. He's going to take a dive. He's going to, get paid all that money on the table. He's going to be happy. He's going to make a bigger person he's ever made in his UFC career, and that's after piggybacking off of some of the stars. He never made it off for being the draw he was. So, it's just, I haven't signed off his legal guardianship for Tyron Woodley to go fight that fight yet. So I'm not sure if I'm going to give him permission.
You guys are going to think I'm crazy, but I personally think that Jake Paul will beat Tyron Woodley. He don't want no smoke with Triple C. But I personally do believe and I feel that he will beat Tyron Woodley. Why? It's because Tyron Woodley, he has all that muscle. We've seen his fights. He gets tired. He only has that overhand right, and it's good and it's vicious. But in that 8-round fight with the kid that has a chip on his shoulder, he wants to demonstrate to the world. I'm sorry, guys. You guys are going to hate me. But I know, I boxed amateur. Daniel Cormier can't say he fought amateur boxing. A lot of these guys cannot say, I've been there and I've done that. If the guy is dedicating his time, he will beat the average guys with average hands in the UFC. Anyhow, I'm not hating. I'm just stating facts. I've boxed. I've been there before. I've gone up against the best. I've wrestled. I've done mixed martial arts, and I've conquered all of these. Anyhow, if you guys don't like what I just said, you guys can all do me a favor and bend the knee to King Triple C.
Jake most likely.
Wow.
Tyron's too small. Yeah, and I mean, Tyron, I don't know, on the trailer they called him an expert striker.
Yeah, that was weird. That was weird.
An expert striker. Yeah, I was like, since the fuck when? He's got a right hand that he, looks for. So when you have one thing to look for, it's easy to avoid that. And yeah, Jake's big. Jake's actually a good boxer. So yeah, if I was gonna bet, I bet on Jake Paul.
Faraz weighed in on this, and Faraz said, yes, I'm sure that Jake Paul will be on PEDs, and PEDs make a big difference, and T-Wood won't be. One came up this way culturally, one came up this way, and they're going to go and fight, and those PEDs make a difference. Tyron is for sure going to hit Paul back, and Tyron is for sure going to be harder to hit than anybody that Paul has hit so far. This is an analysis based on very little. It sounds as though I'm being critical of Jake. I'm actually a believer.
Tyron Woodley has punching power, and obviously he's put a lot of dudes to sleep in his career. Tyron Woodley doesn't look like, the Tyron Woodley of the past that was putting everybody to sleep. He hasn't won a fight in 3 years. He's going to be 40 years old, But I will give it to him. He's at least stepping in there with a guy who can punch. You tell me when the last time you saw Woodley look like Woodley. Well, I'd have to go with Woodley by knockout. Listen, man, Woodley should knock him out. But again, the Tyron Woodley you talk about that was the champ isn't the same fucking guy he was, 4 years ago.